What is up, JD here? Hope you're doing well today. Got a new model in from Civivi. I'm really excited to check this one out and had no idea it was even coming. Let's get into it. All right, so this new model is a version 2 is what they're calling it. So we've already seen the first model on this channel, and I actually gave it a pretty good review. I've rather much enjoyed it. Having said that, do I like this one better? Let's find out. We are looking at the Civivi Sentinel Strike 2, a nice budget offering button lock here from Civivi. I like this model because just like the first version, it has the clamshell backspacer here made from G10, but instead of doing multiple color variants here, they did a blacked out version and then they did a raw with the OD green backstrap. I think they want to see how people respond to the second version before they do more colorways, but I anticipate this will do very well based off my time with it, and I think it'll come out in multiple variants in the future. So as I mentioned, it is a button lock. You're running on ceramic bearings in the pivot. That equates to very smooth action. Yeah, very smooth action. Civivi has one of the best button locks in the game. My Sentinel Strike 1 felt good. This feels like they just continue. Yeah, they just continue to refine this one. It feels very crispy. Doesn't feel lackadaisy at all. There's no lash. It's locked up solid. And yeah. Crisp break on that flipper tab. Now, if you hit it really slow, there is a little bit of tension on the button pushing into it because it hasn't fully broken in smooth yet. And that spring is pushing the lock against the blade the entire time that it's moving. So that'll get smooth in and of itself, and it'll deploy a little bit smoother in future. But again, if you're just giving it a regular flip, you're not thinking about it, it holds it in a locked position well so that you can really fire that. And that's what you really want from your plunge locks. It's not going to feel like a detent ball. And even some detent balls that I've encountered, like the Lush version 1, was really light. It wasn't satisfying to deploy at all. The version 2 was much better in my opinion, but this to me feels better than that detent. So this does perform well in that regard. You do have a reversible pocket clip here. It does hang off of the back. It has a ceramic ball as a glass breaker, which keeps it kind of low profile. I mean, if you're going to do a glass breaker on a rear mounted pocket clip, this is the way to go because it's not super pointy. And it doesn't hurt if you hit it by accident going into the pocket or something like that, but it's going to do the job as far as being able to break glass in case of an emergency. You do have T8 hardware here on the clamshell all around. This is, I forget, I think it's like a not a T6. I think it is like a 6mm or maybe an 8mm hexel. I just use like a really small adjustable wrench that I keep here to take that off for the disassembly. I will say if you're using anything with teeth, especially on the coated version, just be careful because it is a coated blade. It's not like a PVD or anything like that. Button is in a nice location. Minimal speed holes here. I think that actually lends to the aesthetic. And then you have Nitro V with thumb studs and a flipper tab. This is a compound ground blade. They're calling it a drop point, and it has a swedge, very thin and slicey. When I took it downstairs to cut with it, just absolutely melted the catalog paper and then just destroyed the cardboard. Really nice, comfortable ergos going through that cardboard, very easy to choke up with. And even the drop point tip and I don't know if they meant to make this a tanto or if it's just a continuation, and what you're seeing is just kind of where the blade's compound grind ends, that it looks like that. I would probably just sharpen it smooth so it just looks like a regular drop point as I use and sharpen this one. But again, very good performing knife, and the draw cuts, utility cuts on it were very comfortable as well. That forward choil really affords you a nice spot to choke up to and go into a pinch grip to do those utility cuts. So I really liked that a lot. All right, let's do some size comparisons and then we'll wrap up with my final score and thoughts and impressions on this one. All right, on the table, I have the Manix 2 Lightweight and I have the Vosteed Hedgehog on here. And as you can see, the Sentinel Strike is a full-size knife coming in even larger than your Manix 2 Lightweight. Let's do a couple more size comparisons and then I'll grab that scale. All right, I have a couple of budget knives on the table. We have the Nice Guy from Kaiser, and this one here is what I would consider a small knife on the verge of being a mini. And I have the full-size budget Kaiser mini, not the milli, mini, the Militaw, the full-size budget Militaw, big knife, 4-finger grip with extra room to spare, and you can see that the Sentinel Strike is even larger. All right, let's grab that scale. Okay, we got the scale out here. Let's cut her on and see what this Sentinel Strike 2 is coming in on the scale as 3.6. So pretty close. Usually you see around a 3.5 for this style budget knife, but it is a little bit longer and it does have that clamshell back spacer, even though it has the lightweight aluminum scale. So I feel like that's a good weight, and honestly it carries very nicely as well. All right, let me move the scale out of here and we'll wrap it up. Okay, final thoughts and impressions. I do rate on a scale of 1 to 10 for these. Budget knives, because they're limited on the material offerings in most instances, typically can cap at 7. Now, if you have like Nitro V with titanium or 14C with titanium or 154CM with titanium, that can flex, and it has on this channel, being completely transparent here. I bought this with my own money as well. I forgot to mention that. This was not a review sample sent in. I bought this because I thought it looked nice and I wanted to check it out. What goes into the score? Ergos, performance, materials, price point, all of that goes into effect. Having said that, this one here for me is coming in at a 6.6. It would be a little bit higher, hear me out, but I just don't. I think this is a tough knife that could be very much hard use, and while I've never had these plunge locks fail on me, and we're going to test it here on camera now since this is mine. There you see exactly why. I did 2 out on the tip just to make sure it wasn't a mistake. And a little bit of a caveat, I have taken these apart when that's happened and cleaned them and found like there was some dirt or oil on the actual lock itself. That did attribute in 1 or 2 cases to where this one failed, but all the way out on the tip with enough leverage it will fail. But I mean, I was hitting it pretty hard in the middle of the spine and it did not fail. And to be honest with you, for EDC I would consider this perfectly safe. I don't feel scared to use it or have any fears of using it. But I think if it had the top liner lock on it, or if it was a nested liner lock, I would feel a little bit more confident recommending this as a heavy duty hard use knife as well. Now, when I say that, you probably can still hard use this. To be honest, you're really supposed to be cutting with this. So if you're tabletop cutting, pushing through, and you're choked up and you're holding this, or if you're back and you're doing some chopping tasks, you're really putting the pressure against the stop pin, not the locking mechanism. So you're probably not going to have the vibration issues that you do with a spine whack. That's just to imitate if you accidentally were to just, hit it against something, not baton with it. So I just want to be clear about that. Having said that, that is what held it back for me a little bit. The fact that it is a button lock that has the plunge lock and not the newer style top liner locks. I think that really would have gone a long way to have a true detent and to have that compression style lock there wedged, keeping that from moving around. Ergos on this were really nice. The pocket clip's okay. I don't like a glass breaker period, but I will say that this is okay, especially because it works really well and it doesn't affect the ergos at all. Even choked up, I'm really not noticing that pocket clip. Great geometry on here. You got a hollow grind with this compound ground blade, and then it does give you a little bit more meat out on the tip to give you some strength. You're able to really get some power behind the drop point, and I like the thumb stud and flipper tab action. I feel like they've, again, for a plunge style button lock, did a fantastic job with this one, guys. It's really, really good. You know, just that's really that all holds it back for me. And you know, you do have to take the clamp. It's not hard, but you have a different piece of hardware that you have to take off to get to. Wait, let me think about this for a second. I can't remember now. It's been a little while. Actually, I don't think I needed to take that off. That's just to reverse it. I think you can take all of this off, and because it does kind of ride on the clamshell, I think it all comes off together. Stay tuned for the disassembly. I'll take this one apart, and also I'll clean that plunge lock and retest it after we do the disassembly and maintenance on this one, just to see if that makes a difference at all. I do like to be fair in that regard. But overall, easy recommendation. I think aesthetically it looks better. I think they shortened the sharpening tool on here, so I actually like this one better than the version 1. Let me know what you think about the Sentinel Strike down in the comments below. While you're down there, hit up the link if you're interested in picking this or any other knife up through the links that I use. When you do use them, helps the channel tremendously. And thanks to everyone out there. You guys have been really good about using them, and it just helps so much, so thank you. Leave a like if you enjoyed. If you're not subscribed, consider subscribing. And a special thank you and shout out to those loyal channel members out there. You guys are awesome. Got the best channel members out there in the game. All right, I'm out of here. Catch you next time. Have a great week. Peace.